Thank you, Las Cancorla. I, like the previous speaker, delighted to speak on the motion. I welcome some of the comments in relation to the good ideas that have been emerging in relation to the reform agenda, particularly from some members of the opposition. As you know, Cancorla, you may not agree, but Fianna Fáil have left us with a level of social expenditure that is completely out of sync with the capacity of the state to fund the type of social welfare needs that are as a consequence of 14 years of giveaway Fianna Fáil budgets that have brought the country to near ruination. When we as a government came to power this year, we quickly realised the country could not afford the bill that Fianna Fáil had left us, and we realised that we needed to put our funding of social welfare system on a more sustainable footing. One of the core commitments in the programme of government is the restoration of our fiscal stability and our economic sovereignty. As well as we all know, the overall spending in the budget in 2011 will be roughly 18 billion more than this year's overall government income. The government will get 42 billion from tax and PRSI this year. The Department of Social Protection is expected to spend 20 billion in that year. For that reason, the transition to a more balanced budgetary position simply cannot be made without affecting the delivery of social services in this country. The EU and the IMF agreement committed the government to a further adjustment of, I quote, 3.6 billion in the budget of 2012. It's an EU-IMF agreement that you signed off in government. The Department of Social Protection has a major contribution to make in achieving a more balanced budget, as it accounts for nearly 39% of expenditure. The EU and IMF agreement also commits the department to reforms that can better support families of lower incomes, while also ensuring that work pays and that welfare recipients will receive adequate support. The Department of Social Protection has a major contribution to make in achieving a more balanced budget, as it accounts for 39% of the gross current expenditure. It's equivalent to 13% of our GDP. The majority of the expenditure in the department, including associated administrative costs, can broadly be divided into a number of areas. A wide range of supports for people of working age account for approximately 50% of overall expenditure, or nearly 12 billion. Job seekers allowance, job seekers benefit account for 3.6 billion, while just over 1.1 billion will be spent on one-parent family payments. Carers will receive near 750 million in total. Pensions and other supports for retired and older people account for nearly 29% of the overall expenditure, or nearly 6.1 billion. That's nearly 60% of our over 3.6 billion goes on the state contributory pension, which is the single biggest social welfare scheme, while a further 951 million and 920 million respectively is expected to be required for the state pension non-contributory, the widows and widowers non-contributory pension. As you're aware, Las Cancorla, support for children and families will account for nearly 12% of expenditure of nearly €4 billion, and it's estimated that nearly €669 million will be spent on qualified child increases, while €199 million will go on family income supplements. So, Las Cancorla, it's how we deliver that service that's critically important to this debate. The service provided by the department impacts on the lives of almost every person in this state. For example, in 2010, the department processed nearly 2 million claims and made over 84 million payment transactions. Over 6 million telephone calls were received at the headquarters section, and under 1 million reviews were conducted by the department last year. In 2011, an average of almost 1.4 million people will receive a social welfare payment each week. When qualified adults and qualified children are included, a total of more than 2 million people will benefit from weekly payments. In addition to this, child benefit payments will reach nearly 600,000 families, with nearly 1.1 million children affected positively every month. Las Cancorla, as you are aware, as a consequence of the programme of government, the most positive way of spending on social welfare can be reduced is by facilitating the maximum number of unemployed people to take up employment or self-employment. And the government's job initiative has already started that process. The rate of employers' PRSI in respect of employees on the national minimum wage has been halved from 8.5% to 4.25%, the reduction of VAT from 13.5% to 9% on the range of tourism-related products and services, and the introduction of the National Internship Scheme, the Job Bridge Scheme, gives unemployed people experienced placement between 6 and 9 months. Jobs Bridge has assisted in breaking the cycle where job seekers are unable to get a job without experience, either as a new entrant to the labour market after education or training, or as an unemployed worker wishing to learn about new skills. The scheme also gives a real opportunity to gain valuable experience to bridge the gap between study and beginning a work life. Jobs Bridge and the National Internship Scheme is part of the Government's job initiative and was launched on the 1st of July of this year. Claimants continue to receive their primary social welfare payment as well as a €50 additional payment for participating in that scheme. As of from Thursday the 27th of October, a total of 2,508 internships opportunities with host organisations were available on the Department's website. In addition, to date, there are 2,185 interns have commenced the internship under the Jobs Bridge scheme. Of these, 630 individuals have converted from work placements into the Jobs Bridge. As Concorde, as you know, that the Jobs Bridge is there to assist individuals bridge the gap between unemployment and the world of work. Jobs Bridge aims to offer individuals all levels of skill, ranging from those who left school early to highly qualified graduates, a unique opportunity to develop new skills and earn valuable experience. Feedback on the schemes has revealed that there have been many excellent internships for non-graduates in the retail, catering services, where participants are learning about new skills and staying in touch with the labour market and putting themselves in a better position for full-time employment. The Jobs Bridge scheme contains a number of measures which minimises displacement, including the following. Host organisations must declare that all of their participants are not displacing an employee. The Jobs Bridge team will check applications where possible to ensure that the vacancy are advertised on the FOSS Jobs Ireland website, and to ensure that the inspection team ensures that displacement, if it is an issue, that there is a liaison between FOSS management to intervene.
I ask the Deputy to conclude his remarks.
I'd like to conclude my remarks, Lascan Corla, by saying that we are harnessing under the advisory groups on tax and social welfare, the type of experience to examine the operation and interaction of tax and social protection, recommendations on the most cost-effective solutions and how the employment can be incentivised and can be improved, and better poverty outcomes, particularly for child poverty outcomes, can be achieved by identifying specific, practical, administrative improvements in their operation. Can I conclude, Lascan Corla, by saying that this is a very important debate tonight. In the programme of government, we have clearly set out that the government is determined to do its utmost to protect the most vulnerable people in society. There is a considerable challenge ahead for this country with regard to the need to safeguard, as far as possible, the key income supports and services operated by the Department of Social Protection. We need to recognise that the severe impact on families, individuals and communities as a result of the economic collapse.
Thank you, Deputy. I call Deputy Inglis.